Shanti. Sometimes people say, how come Brahma Kumaris is the best kept secret in the world? Yeah. But if we market it really effectively, then we wouldn't have the intimacy of small classes. So there's us, but there's other people, invisible people who are here from all over the world. And so welcome to everyone who's everywhere in any time zone. And so we've just had a couple of days, full days of retreat. And so some of you have just come today. So we were talking about, first of all, awake, wake up. Second of all, stable, because if you wake up, you see too much. So you have to be stable and secure, and then destined to make it. And now perspective. And it's Thanksgiving, so we're also thinking about gratitude. And as you know, Thanksgiving is a time when the people who had come to United States came in the summertime. They didn't know what is winter. And myself and Chandruban, we used to live in Toronto. Before we came to America, we were there. And in those days, now we've got global warming, so it's different. But in those days, we had 2-3 meters of snow for 6-7 months in the year. And so you can imagine people who just came from Europe could not imagine such kind of winter, and for so long. And so the native peoples said, guys, let us tell you something about winter and what you have to do. And because of that, everyone survived. Otherwise, not. You can't survive certain things unless you know what to do. And we are learning this study and practice of meditation in a particular context of a certain type of winter. It can also be called the dark night of the soul. There is also an expression, the winter of our discontent. Do you know this expression? It's, I can't remember who said it, but it's a famous poet. Shakespeare, of course. Very good things are said by Shakespeare. Yes, yeah. But though Shakespeare had covered everything, I think Shi Baba has beaten Shakespeare with this thing that we call the world drama. And with 8 billion actors, a number of comedies, tragedies, tragicomedies, histories, and mysteries, and horror stories, and fun, and everything. The whole spectrum of human experience in the human story. And the present time that we're moving through is going into the time when things are, you think it's been difficult, you haven't seen anything yet. Difficult times ahead. And so I think that one thing to be really grateful for is all the time that we have had with the opportunity to accumulate the spiritual strength and knowledge about how things are and how things will be before they are how they have to be. And so this is a very tumultuous time that we are embarking on. And so everyone is ready, yes? Because now Baba has given all the knowledge and we pass through enough exams so that we can, say, okay, we have been educated. And now we go into the reality of a world in transition. And we really feel very fortunate and grateful that we have been prepared like no one else. And he says, yes, you will be fine, but what about everyone else who hasn't had all this practice and study and training and all whatever it is that we got? So he says, you are the ones who have to enable others to get through by your power. And so everything that we have received is very nice for us, but it's not for us alone. But we are carriers of a vibration, an atmosphere, a set of principles and knowledge, and just whatever is needed to get through difficult times, troubled times. And so are we ready? Yes? Ready? Okay, good. So it's been a marathon already, but I think I heard the last 3 hours of a marathon are the most difficult. Is that right? And so I think we're coming into that last 3 hours of the marathon. And so in this session, we wanted to talk about perspective. And what I've been noticing, especially with this video that we just saw, is the use of drones. Now, is there anybody who doesn't have a drone? But, there's a surprising number of people who do have drones, And I have one good friend who has a drone, and wherever he goes, he carries his drone. And he takes the pictures, the aerial pictures. And we like aerial pictures, right? We like that perspective from the sky. And I think it's a little bit symbolic of the perspective that we are learning in Raj Yoga. So one thing that we heard about today is flying in the mind. So even if the body is not doing too well, and a few of us are getting on the old side, right? Quite a few of us. There was a time when all of us were in our 20s. That was a long time ago. You see. So now we're in our 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 100s. And but still, this flight with the mind is very special, because especially when you go through difficult times, to be able to fly with the mind in a state of equilibrium in the face of whatever, to fly even if your body is held down by age and illness and whatever, to fly even if relationships are a bit problematic, fly anyway, and look at everything from this angle of, the person who is in a helicopter or I think a helicopter is good. It's not too far up because from the jet plane is a bit, you can't really see what's going on. But a drone angle is, I think, quite good, and you can go where you want, including inside the house, things like that. And the other thing that has given us a different perspective is zooming. Because everyone is now sitting behind masks, so you don't really know who anyone is anymore because we're all hidden away, and we're sitting. It's actually quite nice. Do you like sitting 6 feet apart from the next person? You need space, right? Yeah. In Finland, they normally have 5 meters between people, and they're really looking forward to the end of COVID when they can go from 2 meters to 5 meters. It's a wonderful world of Finland where everyone is used to big space and deeply introverted stage. Yeah, this is the world of the reindeers, where Father Christmas comes from. But anyway, yeah, we are locked down. Now is winter coming, so everything is locking down again. So the only way that we can fly around is through virtual reality using the communications technology where you can just be anywhere, anytime, or everywhere all the time. It's kind of new and different. And that all these things give us a different perspective on who we are and what we're doing and what is. Do you feel this? And it's sort of opened things up for us. For a long time, we have been hearing that this is a amazing, identically repeating three-dimensional film. And because we're using all these technologies and cameras and everything, everybody has a cell phone with a camera in it, right? And the cell phone cameras are now better than TV cameras, and just small, keep in your pocket. So there is just so much of our life which is somehow using a virtual reality. And so our relationship with non-virtual reality is reducing substantially. Is that right? And what does that do? And it does change our sense of what is and our sense of who is, and our sense of what's possible. And so there was this Stephen Hawking, and he didn't have much of a body, but he used all this technology to do everything more than you can do with a body. And it's like everyone is using ways of being that are beyond the body. And he tells us a lot about you have to be bodiless and fly and, understand all these metaphors and poetic images and sort of live on a different level. Because physical reality is now, I think, about to become a lot more, progressively more constricted, less freedom of movement, less ease of international travel. Um, People are concerned about the environment, concerned about everything. So a simplification going on the physical level, but on the spiritual level is amplification. And it's nice because we're transitioning from just the material world to the virtual world, the world of symbols and dreams and metaphors and uh, stories. And we can actually create anything, any color, any shape, anything. You're limited only by your imagination because we have all the techniques, user friendly, so we can do this. And you really realize that this physical reality is not that different from the other reality. What's the difference? It's just how we think about it. And then he says, everything, whatever you experience through your sense organs, you experience it in your mind. You do not experience it where it appears to be. You think I'm over here and you're over there, which is true only to a certain extent, because we want to understand, okay, how is this 5,000-year identically repeating cycle happening? And it's all inside, because all events are registered in your consciousness, not out here. You see? And so all these technologies help us to really grasp this, that everyone's drama, everyone's angle on the drama is their own, right? And your interpretation of what's happening is your own. So objective reality is a historical idea because it's very, very subjective. And we used to hear that objective reality is real and subjective reality is imaginary. But now we're seeing that anyway, objective reality is subjective, because you cannot perceive objective reality any other way than subjectively. Well, we have agreements that, yeah, we all see that, these flowers are basically kind of orange. But each person's experience of orange could well be different. We can't really tell. And when you're doing graphics on the computer, you have different monitors with different settings. So you have the same picture in 25 different versions. So which one is real? It's up to you. You can choose, So all these things, they start to have an impact on our relationship with what we think is real. And so what that does is it gives us a lot more power over our experience of reality, insofar as whether something is good or bad is a personal decision. Because whatever is going on is good if you look at it in this way, and bad if you look at it in that way. It's the same thing, but you're looking at it from a different angle in terms of, okay, it's bad for me in this way on one level, but if I look at it on another level, it's really good for me. So we can't really say whether anything is good or bad. And that's for real. And so Baba says, well, it's a good idea to consider everything as good. And if it feels bad, keep watching, keep looking from a variety of angles until you find the angle where you really see the profit that you can take from that event or occurrence or circumstance. And why we do this is because when you receive everything in a way that is for profit, you take advantage of everything and you experience that you are enriched by it. A person who doesn't learn to perceive in this way is not able to be so enriched by the same things that are going on. But when you experience yourself to be enriched, how do you feel? You feel happy. You see, you say, "Yeah, it's great." And when you feel happy, um, your spiritual energy doesn't get drained. And when you feel unhappy, you do get drained a lot, and you also think too much. Why am I unhappy? I should not be unhappy. But this person is responsible for my unhappiness, so I will do something about their unhappiness. And it takes a lot of energy to do that. And then you miss the moment, you see. And you miss relating to people vibrationally as opposed to circumstantially. Circumstantially, yeah, that's a word. Um, I think because it's always about what somebody is doing and whether it's good or bad or whatever. And in this, we are able to see now who is this person, because everyone is different and everyone is behind many masks, not just the one on your face, but there's so many masks that we have. And what we like is the real whoever it is, right? But we don't really like to reveal the reality of ourselves for some reason, because it's actually the best part. Somehow we don't want to show the best part, but we want to look good by showing the fake part. It's a bit illogical, but we do that. But gradually we begin to feel free to be. And that is a very important thing because, after all, if you ask yourself, why am I here? What am I doing? What's going on? Why are we here? We're here because we want to know the truth, right? Mostly. So, and then there's many, many people, they say, I want to be authentic. Have you ever had that thought? I want to be authentic. So there is something that tries to make us inauthentic, against which we have to struggle. And so I think that the energy of that thing that wants us to be something other than what we are is losing power. Do you feel that? And now we're in a period of time where, everybody has a right to be who they are. And we're also learning the subtle boundaries between who I am and who you are. Because there's a like a globe of light around each person, which is a continuation of who you are, like a aura or an atmosphere around yourself. And you live in this globe, which is your space. And then you encounter another globe of someone else's space, and then you can, connect or not. But it's like the time that we're in allows for us to be more real than previous times, where you had to be according to somebody else's idea about what you should or shouldn't be. That's all breaking down, which is really nice. And so, uh, like, it's okay to be wounded and have scars, because without that, you can't prove that you're a warrior and you've been places. You see? And so it's like it takes down a lot of the pretense. And when we are looking at ourselves from this other angle, from above, from inside, so we had a different perspective on ourselves, which allows us to have a different perspective on other people as well. And so our sense of what it means to be human is changing. Even we don't worry too much about dying, do we? Um, but previously, people used to really think that, the worst thing that can possibly happen to a person is they die. But now we wouldn't say that anymore. So that's different. I think probably the worst thing that can possibly happen to a person is they'd never find themselves. And so to be one with the self, to find your power, to be who you really are, and whether somebody likes it or not doesn't really make much difference. So what? And also, we got the third eye, right? Everybody got one? Third eye? And so you can see through all that junk. And you can see right into a person, you can see right into a situation, you can see right into the wonder of everything. And I think when we're thinking about gratitude, previously or maybe normally, people think, well, I'm really grateful for the sky and the sea and the trees and the fire and the water and the stars and all of that. But that's all on the material level. But now uh, we would be able to see the whole, um, how it's moving through time, moving through its process, and see ourselves, the whole of ourselves, all of our many, many births, and to know that you can never lose anyone. Nobody can get lost. It's a very convenient truth because, we have karmic connections. So if you die or if you died 1,000 years ago, it doesn't matter because you're still here. And you will meet again in different forms. But, this third eye that we've got allows us to see what is really nature in a new way and what is really spirit in a new way and what is really the meaning of life, the purpose of life in a new way. And gradually to become fearless. I think it's very good to come to a point where you are not afraid to be who you are, not afraid to die, not afraid of pain, not afraid of loss, but easy. Because of these three things, what I think really great wealth that we have is these three things of the knowledge. And I think really the inheritance that you get from God is the knowledge. That's his property. Some people think, we're getting golden palaces and whatnot, but that's not really. It's the knowledge itself, the truth. And then the spiritual power. When you have yoga with God and you pull that energy, this is really, really good. And then the third thing is we know how to perform pure karma, which creates a very nice future for ourselves and for everyone else. So to me, if you're going to be grateful for something, I think those three cover everything, forever. So that's pretty nice. And I'm going to stop here, yeah, and invite us all to have a few moments meditation, just thinking about what we have received. My gentleman keeps talking about abundance, and I think she's very aware of how this little idea that started, as you saw in the film, with this little apartment on top of the auto body shop on 20th Avenue in San Francisco, near to Lincoln by the Golden Gate Park. And we had a Kentucky Fried Chicken on the other side of the road. So we had the smell of paint all day and the smell of chicken all night. But that's okay. We were okay with that. But from this little starting point, what has grown in terms of the space and the place and the people and the history and the story is really quite an extraordinary gift, that we will say. This great abundance that is there because of what we have received from God. And so we're very grateful for that. And what she's also been talking about is together. And, people really desire family. And yet, family for so many people is fraught with agony because of the speciality of karmic accounts at this time, when everything comes up for settlement of account. And so, in the midst of such an environment, karmic settlement, this new family of the ancient family of humanity is finding each other again. Because he talks about a new civilization, and a new civilization has a bunch of people in it. And every single one is utterly, totally, and completely different from the next one. And so he pulls us together and says, harmonize. And the image that is given for that is the torrent. You know, torrents? Torrents are the water comes from the melting snow from the mountain, and it comes down fast, and it brings lots of boulders. And these boulders get knocked around in the torrent because it's very fast flowing. And in the process, the stones become rounded. And these round stones, these oval formed stones, are symbols of this perfect soul. And so we are, in this family of beings who are diamonds in the rough. And in the ancient times, they used to cut diamonds in cabochon form. You know, cabochon, it's like an oval form. And nowadays you get lots of little facets, but there's old diamonds. I've seen some of them, really, really old and big, fat diamonds, like this size. Must be worth a lot of money. But anyway, I don't know how much. But they're there in India, they have these. And this is us, you see. And you cannot cut a diamond with any other than another diamond, of course. So if you happen to be a diamond in a torrent of water bashing against other diamonds, which are quite hard diamonds, it's about as hard as you can get. And the result is everyone becomes these oval forms, which have this glow inside, and which are very, very beautiful. A ray of sun hits a diamond and becomes like a star on the inside. It's very beautiful. And this is us, you see. We're in torrent. So that makes us more and more valuable and more eternal. And when you have a bunch of, it's one diamond by itself is not that good. When you have a lot of diamonds together, you can make a crown, you can make a necklace, you can make ring, you can make a bracelet, you can make all sorts of things with lots of diamonds. So the family is this constantly shifting gathering of diamonds, living diamonds. And this is forever because we live through all of time together. We get very scattered, no doubt, but then we come together again. So what she was telling us this morning about abundance and togetherness and how all of this is a flow from up to down, right? She was also talking about that. And so this flow of the water of knowledge, which comes like a torrent from the highest peak and makes us into the valuable beings that we are. That's something wonderful.